Okay, let's go.
Alright, just maybe if you could just start with your thoughts on the new trophy that was unveiled today.
Wow, a beautiful trophy. I mean, this is just such a key milestone for African football. I think a very bold design that speaks to the future, but also holds the past. You know, I think it also says a lot about the richness of African football, with the gold really playing center stage, while the silver base is holding everything up. So, very excited.
And your clubs are returning to CAF football next season. Just feeling around that.
No, it's very exciting. I think for Kaizer Chiefs to be back in CAF and participating is something that we've been waiting for. Obviously, we were in a final a few years ago, but certainly very excited that we're back, and our supporters are excited. And congratulations to the club for winning, the Nedbank Cup and pleasing our supporters and being back on the continent. I know our supporters on the continent are excited too.
And juggling both. I mean, you're still trying to build locally and do well in the league. Then you've got the CAF Continent Cup. Just juggling both. How do you see that happening?
I think for us to juggle both, playing on the continent as well as wanting league honours locally is something we have had in mind and will plan for. We'll obviously have to resource ourselves appropriately. But I think what's also exciting is the work that CAF has done in making sure that financially they're making sure that teams who are in the prelims have resources like the $50,000 that clubs are getting. The fact that they've increased prize monies for the competitions is also helping teams, if they win, to use those resources and reinvest. But certainly from a Chiefs point of view, we'll make sure the right resources are put in place for the team to be able to compete at all levels.
And maybe how would you... Yes, when you've got Stellenbosch, in the semis, Sundowns in the final, Pirates in the semis as well, and then Chiefs coming back for South African football to have this kind of competitiveness and representation.
I think that the representation that South African football has had shows what a strong league we have, and I must say congratulations to the PSL on the work that they have done, and congratulations to our teams who have really represented South Africa on the continent. So it gives me great confidence, and I hope that our league will be an example for other leagues, and I'm using the platform of the ACA to say South Africa has a strong league. Is there a way that the lessons and the way we've grown the league can be shared continentally as well, while we also look at the other examples on the continent?
Maybe just how would you sum up the season for Kaizer Chiefs? I think you played your last game this weekend. We heard one of the players yesterday call it somewhat of a failure, that Kaizer Chiefs is trying to get into the top 8 and it's not guaranteed even.
How would I describe the season? I would say a season of many seasons. That's how I would say it. I don't think it's a season of failure. I think it's been a season that has many journeys, some of them ups, some of them downs, but certainly the Nedbank Cup was a great highlight. We have to go back and look at what we haven't done right at the league level to understand where we can improve, look at the resources needed, but certainly also look at what we have. I mean, we've had success. You don't beat a Sundowns, a Pirates, a Stellies, or whoever else without having the right players in the stable. So I think it's a review that we need to look at, and then have a clear plan moving forward to say how do we build on the success and the challenges that we've had this season.
Yes, previously Kaizer Chiefs has participated in club competitions. Now you're going again. What are the lessons that you've learned in making sure that when you go this time around, your preparations in terms of all round, everything is put in place for when the team goes again next season?
Look, we're going to lean on all the lessons we've had from the past in playing in the CAF space, and certainly I think it's going to be a lot of planning, a lot of research in terms of where we're going, in terms of the countries we're going to, and collaboration. I think collaboration with CAF and other clubs that we're going to play against. I think African football has changed. We're more collaborative and less combative, even though we compete on the field. So certainly we will look at that. And I think the key thing is resourcing our club, making sure we have the right players or additional players to be able to deal with and have the stamina for the journey that we're going to face ahead and the challenges ahead. But certainly we'll look at that, and I think there's a lot of discussions around how to beef things up internally.
I guess we can't get away from the fact that since that story came the weekend, and
how do you express yourself regarding the future of the coach? Is he the guy that you guys are begging? Is he going to system review? What is the future of the coach as for instance?
Look, we have backed the coach. And I mean, we've had this discussion even in the season, so it's not a new conversation. And I think I've answered it over and over again. The coach has a contract, we've backed him. We do, like we said, I mean, we were reviewing the season. We have to sit down and review what needs to happen, what things need to change. But certainly we've been backing the technical team and the coach. I mean, we brought in the technical team, we brought in the coach to do a job. We'll have to sit down and look at what we've achieved and also set our vision also for where we need to go, you know. But right now the focus is let's finish this weekend, close everything off, and then we'll sit down and look at everything. But certainly the coach has a contract. He's here with us. He's working tirelessly with his team to make sure that things are tied up properly.
But is there a possibility that maybe after reviews he might end up leaving the team?
I can't speak to that. I mean, I can't speak to that. Right now, we are focused on moving forward and focused on working with the coach to make things move ahead.
Maybe just a generic question from somebody that understands what it takes to go out there and look for investment for South Africa, on the sort of South African football scope. The image of the country, of course, plays a bigger role in how the rest of the country, the rest of the world looks at and deciding to put money in the country. Super Cup coming up later on this year in America. South Africa's image wasn't looking good until last night. Our president going up there and sitting down with Trump. In reflection of last night, do you think that he might have put out a good picture for us, which allows you guys when you go to America and say, I'm from South Africa, I'm looking for football investment for the continent and the country, you'll be comfortable enough in saying that investors will easily say, no, South Africa is a good country, we can give them post what happened.
Look, brand South Africa's gone through a lot. I think our brand has been tainted a bit, but certainly it was great to have a delegation speaking at the White House. I think there's a lot we need to review from what happened last night. I think we had some wins, but I think we had some losses. You know, I think we also need to be able to defend our position, whether it's on the continent or international stage. But at the same time, we have to listen and understand how the world perceives us and see if there are things we need to look at. But certainly, it's very difficult to go out into the landscape and try get resources when the brand is not being perceived positively. And I think for me, the only way to change that is for us as South Africans to act in a unified way. You saw it with us in the Nedbank Cup with Kaizer Chiefs, when our country, even in the World Cup, when we're all focused towards one common vision and we're not fighting amongst each other, and we actually focused on building South Africa, not building our individual parties or me as an individual, but say what's important for this country. And I think if we can sit together and say, at the end of the day, South Africa is our country, it's important to us, no matter what people think of us, we know who we are. We're a nation that's come out of apartheid. We're a nation that's been able to avoid civil war. We're a nation that has been able to build this country, even though we've had challenges, and we're still standing, you know. And we have a GNU, we're united, and we need to have one common goal that makes sure that we rebuild how brand South Africa is seen. Sport is a great way to do it as well. And we need to invite people in. I think we need to speak about what is working in our country, not what is not working. We do know what's not working. But I think to get the right investment and the right perceptions, we need to talk about what is working in our country. And there is a lot working in our country. And if South Africans can stay focused on what's working, we could change the world perceptions and make this country even greater.
Just another key thing. What are the things that you guys must get right to now and to the start of next season? This player movement, who comes in and who comes out. Obviously, players coming in with money and that kind of stuff. That's an area where I guess you guys need to focus fully on to make sure that you make the right decisions on the transfer.
Well, player movement has been something we've taken very seriously. You can see in the last transfer, 2 transfer windows, Chiefs was very serious around bringing players. I mean, I think the coach got 10 new players, and it's something that we are very serious about. We have a scouting team. We are looking at the right technologies to make sure that we're looking at players far and wide. Also looking at our development academy. Look at how our DDC has just done winning the championship. So we are not only looking at players outside of our fold, but also looking at growing our own grown home talent. talent in our own environment. But certainly player movement is important for us. You see now part of our review will be to say, how do we stabilize and keep the players who are doing a good job and make sure that we reward those players who've really done well this season, but also how do we beef up, I think that's also important. We've got a long journey now playing on the continent, and we need to make sure we have a squad with depth that can deal with the challenges and also deal with the potential injuries and the things that come with the game.
Also, just another one, the process of establishing a women's team, how's that going?
Look, this is a key, establishing a women's team is key to us also playing on the continent. I think what's important is doing it right, and we've said that. And right now, the challenge is we are doing a review of what's happening in the current league. I think we as South Africa have to say, we've seen how successful women's clubs have been on the continent, and it's important for us to have, I think, a professional league. And that's something that I'm engaging on and having conversations about. But certainly from a club point of view, that's something that's very paramount, and particularly in our journey on the continent is something that we are doing.
So I just wanted to find out, you being an executive within the ACA, how did it come about that, we know South Africa's in the running, but why was it chosen? Why was it not chosen? Why was Morocco chosen over it? And how's the mandate, implementing the mandate?
Well, Morocco put in a bid. South Africa, while they indicated they had interest for ACA headquarters to be in South Africa, we didn't put in a bid, which was unfortunate. And I think it required a lot of stakeholders, and the timing might have been an issue. Morocco put in a bid and obviously got that bid. And now our headquarters for the ACA are in Morocco, and it's actually exciting because obviously that's where the heart of things is happening right now. You've got the World Cup coming, you've got offices for CAF and FIFA there, so it keeps us in that heartbeat. But certainly South Africa was interested, having the kind of league that it has and the kind of sponsors within the fold, and I think we'll still play a role, but certainly it would have been nice to have received a bid from South Africa.
And is the implementation of the mandate of making clubs more visible, more economically viable, is it like we're going to see more progression, seeing that there's a base now and there's a whole thing?
No, certainly. Now that the ACA has a base in Morocco, we're establishing our office there. We're putting together a team to make sure that we can work with the clubs, because that's important for us, and this is part of it. Working with CAF has been very key to make sure that we really get into the heart of what club football is about. So you'll see a lot of exciting initiatives coming out of the ACA.